Hey, can you play that lie now? It's par for the course as Joe and I talk golf. We are ready to bring you all the outs, and we hope that this show earns 2 thumbs up. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. And Joe, eventually we're gonna get the majority of our games in, but unfortunately, Mother Nature's not very friendly to us right now.
You know, we took last week off from the show because of so many delays. Yep. To this point, we're 2 weeks into the season, theoretically, 2 full weeks into the season, theoretically, for baseball and softball. They each have 2 games in so far. Lacrosse teams were supposed to start the season last week. That didn't happen. Hopefully, they will get their season started this week. Same could be said for the golf teams. We do have previews of the 2 golf teams. So we got out on really the one nice day that we've seen the last couple of weeks. We got out to the golf course and talked to them. We're hoping to visit with both lacrosse teams hopefully this week and have previews of them next week.
See, you should have bought a lottery ticket that day because it was the one nice day of the week or of the month, basically, and so maybe we're winning all the way.
But hey, it could be much worse. 4 years ago, everybody was still inside because there was more than 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Yes, exactly.
So
we're
it
fortunate
could
in a lot of ways.
be much worse, and hopefully we'll be getting a lot more games in for everybody here in this week. But the weather again looking kind of sketchy. But we'll see what they can get in this week, and certainly as we move forward, eventually it will stay a bit warmer and hopefully drier.
One would hope, anyway.
Well, the baseball team started its season on the road against Minnetonka back on Saturday the 9th. They had a 4-1 lead in this game, but the Skippers rallied late, hand them a 9-4 win. Mark Manders went 2 for 4 with a stolen base and a run. Myrie had a hit in his one at bat. But the Cardinals that was it. 3 hits in the game, a couple of errors. I think 4 errors for the Cardinals in this game. And, it's extra tough on a couple of fronts. 1, you let a lead get away. 2, you committed several errors. And 3, only 3 hits.
Well, it was kind of their story last year, too. I mean, they had a really difficult time in the field defensively, and so, we're hoping that it does not carry over until this season.
Well, the Cardinals opened their home schedule last Tuesday, hosting conference rivals from Rogers. Both teams struggled on offense in their season openers, and were looking to bounce back and even their records. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, the Royals pitcher was nearly untouchable. Royals threatening in the first inning, 2 on and 1 out. Jack Olson lines it to center. Colin McCullough charges and makes the catch. Throws to second, and it's a very easy double play. Defense came up with some big plays against the Royals. Second inning now, Joey Cook with a chopper up the middle. Manders to Ankerfeld to Myrie. Cards had 3 double plays, 6-4-3 they go on that one against the Royals. Trying to turn another one in the third. Unfortunately, this one doesn't click. Ankerfeld to Manders. The relay sails on him, though. Royals able to score on the play. The Cardinals, unfortunately, had 4 errors in the game. Meanwhile, Rogers pitcher Jake Clausen absolutely sailing. He chalked up a dozen strikeouts, only allowed 2 base runners all game long. Rogers adds some insurance in the 7th. Riken Downs grounds into a fielder's choice. That scores a run from third. That made it 3-0. And that was more than enough for Clausen. Jaden Kopp gets good contact, but center fielder Riley Martin has it measured, makes the catch, and completes the no-hitter for Clausen. Cardinals fall to 0-2 on the season. It's always fun to see a no-hitter. They don't happen that often. No. It's a little more interesting for us when it happens for our guys, but hats off to Clausen. He pitched a heck of a game.
He really did, and he was mixing pitches, but his fastball was really strong that day. It was cold, it was difficult. Nobody really hit the ball that well. You talked about 4 errors in the field again, but 3 double plays. I mean, you're trying to even some of that stuff up, but again, it was a tough loss. Couldn't get the bats going at all.
You got to get more production from your offense. 3 hits in game 1, no hit in game 2. They've got a couple this week. They are at Osseo on Tuesday. They will be back home to host Armstrong on Thursday, and at this point, Thursday is looking like a pretty decent day.
I think Thursday we'll get some ball in. Well, the softball team also got its season started last week. On Monday, the Cardinals were in the bubble taking on Maple Grove. The Crimson are one of the preseason favorites in the conference, so the Cardinals were getting a real trial by fire. Cardinals were supposed to open the season at home, but due to the weather, they were forced to take their game inside. Maple Grove starts the scoring in the top of the second. Danny Strom gets a hold of this one and drives it over the center field fence. The solo home run gets the Crimson on board, and it kickstarts their offense. They open it up in the top of the third. Strom again showing bunt and then going long instead, her second round trip of the game. This one a 2-run shot. Maple Grove leads 7-0 after 3. Cardinals only had 1 hit in the ball game coming up here, but it was a big one. Sophomore Ryan Mellom leaves no doubt with this shot to left. That got Coon Rapids on the board in the 4th, but Maple Grove controls start to finish. Coming up, another bomb in the top of the 6th. Alyssa Wernz driving it over the right field fence. Crimson cruise to a 13-1 win in 6 innings. And they're a good ball club, there's no doubt about it, and they were hitting the ball really well that day.
Well, and this conference is stacked with good softball teams. Maple Grove is historically very, very good,
Yep.
but Anoka is as well.
Yep.
Blaine's a pretty good team.
Absolutely.
And then you add Rogers, the newcomer to the conference, and do they bring power? Yeah, they bring a little bit of power. They chalked up 28 runs against the Cardinals last Tuesday. They had 9 runs in the 3rd inning and 12 in the 4th. And they ended after 4 innings up 28-3. Again, limited in hits were the Cardinals, but Grace Graham got her first home run of the season. It was a 2-run shot. Jaden Gale had a hit, drove in a run, and Chloe Christie went 1 for 2 and came across, but 28-3. That's a tough one. That's a big number.
You and I, we were doing obviously the baseball game, and I looked over to my right and saw the scoreboard, and I said to you, "Is that 6-1?" And you looked, and no, I think that's 16-1.
Yeah, it was.
And yeah, it was a tough one for the Cards, no doubt.
Unfortunately, we were hoping that the home team was on the left side of the scoreboard.
It didn't work that way.
It wasn't. Well, they hope to get things straightened out there at Osseo on Tuesday this week. Host Two Rivers on Wednesday and Armstrong on Thursday. I think Tuesday's a go.
Yep.
I don't think Wednesday's going to happen. And Two Rivers, they were actually supposed to play Two Rivers on Saturday this past weekend, but going to see a lot of that with teams and games getting pushed back possibly multiple times, especially non-conference games.
It's going to warm up, but unfortunately the precipitation is not out of the picture at this point.
Well, the tennis team, they actually got a match in this afternoon. I didn't know with the precipitation we had this morning if they'd be able to get the courts dry, but they were. They opened the schedule, though, last Friday, the April 8th against Park Center, and they just blew past the Pirates. Just about everybody winning in straight sets. You can see Sam Murillo 6-0, 6-1. And second singles, third singles, fourth singles, and second doubles, all 6-0, 6-0 wins for the Cardinals. Then on Saturday, they hosted the Cardinal Invite. A couple of tough losses. Hate to see those 4-3 losses, and they dropped a pair of them to start that day against Armstrong and Irondale. Bounced back with a 7-0 win against St. Francis, even their record at 2-2 on the season. Sam Murillo was 3-0 on the day. So was Cooper Held, just an 8th grader. He competed at both third and fourth singles and also played a doubles match. He went 2-0 in his singles matches. Anderson and Savelli, who played, I think, 2 of the 3 matches, they were first doubles, and the other was second, or it could be 2-1 the other way. But either way, they were 3-0 on the day, so definitely a good start for them. Well, the Cardinals were right back at it on Monday last week, hitting the road to take on the Anoka Tornadoes. This is a big test for the Cardinals early in the year, putting them up against an evenly matched conference and section opponent, and it went right down to the very last match. We're going to go through it from the top of the order to the bottom. Sam Murillo continues his stellar start with a straight sets win at first singles. 6-1, 6-0 win, makes 5 straight to start the season for Sam. Ryder Held dropped the first set at second singles, but bounces back to win in 3-1, 6-4, 6-3. Eighth grader Cooper Held scored a huge win for the Cardinals at third singles, showing he can handle the pressure. He controlled the final set to win 6-1, 2-6, 6-1. Will Wagner in the far court for the Cardinals at four singles. Solid baseline play on this point and a beautiful lob. Watch the placement on this, right into the corner. Fortunately, Wagner loses 2-6, 0-6. Dylan Anderson and Joe Savelli won the first set at first doubles. Noka comes back to win in three, however, 6-2, 3-6, 2-6, the final in that one. Cal Jensvold and Blake DeGroat trailed the opening set at second doubles, but came back to win in a tiebreaker and then closed the door with a 6-3 win in the second set. Peyton Leet and Luke Ross played tough at third doubles, but came up short, losing 4-6, 6-4, 4-6. Cardinals did enough and scored the 4-3 win. And reading about it from Coach Stork's perspective, he kind of laid it out how each one finished, and it came down to that second doubles and third singles. Jensvold, I think it was the second doubles, they were able to win, made it 3-3. Cooper Held, an eighth grader, going into a third set, all the pressure, and he came out on top.
And you talked about earlier, this tennis team has an opportunity to do well, and to come back and get that 4-3 win after losing 4-3 earlier this season, it's really nice, and it gives them a lot of confidence going into the season as well.
And they're a very young team.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fun to watch, not only this year, but next year and even beyond. Ryder Held is just a sophomore. Yep. Cooper Held, an eighth grader, and they're filling your second and third single spots. So that's great. Sam Murillo, obviously a junior. No seniors on the squad, but that was one of the things last year. I don't remember what their record was, like 1-4, something like that in matches that finished 4-3. So they'd like to flip the script on that part this year if possible. As I mentioned, they did play this afternoon. They come up with a 5-2 win over the Blaine Bengals. Sam Murillo stays undefeated on the year. Both Ryder and Cooper Held getting straight sets victories. Anderson moved into the singles, fourth singles spot and won 6-0, 6-1. Jensvold and Savelli also getting the win at first doubles. That one went to tiebreak and they won 10-7. A very ambitious schedule for the tennis Cardinals this week. They are scheduled to play every day this week if possible. I'm going to say Wednesday
is out.
Wednesday is almost a guaranteed rain out for just about everybody. Yep. Hopefully, it's not too bad. There's no lightning, and maybe we can get the lacrosse season started. But the tennis team should be at Osseo on Tuesday, hosting Champlin on Wednesday and Maple Grove on Thursday, and then Elk River on Friday. Maple Grove and Elk River, two of the best in the conference.
That's just crazy.
Those are going to be incredibly tough matches, even if they're not back to back.
Yeah, and they've got to be happy with a 4-2 start. So and then we'll see how this week plays out and how many matches they actually get in. But a nice job starting out 4-2. Yeah.
Well, the track and field teams did get a competition in back on Thursday the 8th. They hosted Centennial. They did not take there was no official score taken, but reading Coach Denny Green of the girls teams, reading his blog, he felt very good about how the girls competed, where their times were. It just kind of gives them a baseline to work on moving forward. They will be at Park Center on Tuesday and then at Osseo on Thursday. So a couple of dual meets coming up for the track and field teams this week.
The boys golf team is hoping to start the season on Thursday after having postponed last week's Bunker Hills invite. The Cardinals return their entire varsity lineup. With an added year of experience comes added confidence, and they're hoping it leads to lower scores on the course.
Since we're returning such a good group of guys, we can really start to place in these tournaments. Last year we were always consistently at the bottom of the ranks, and I think we can surprise some people this year.
After taking some lumps last year and learning some lessons, the Cardinals are primed to take flight this season. They return their entire lineup, and they're ready to show how far they've come.
So I've made leaps and bounds. Just after the season last year, played in some junior PGA tournaments and kind of getting in some competitiveness outside of the season. And then just really working throughout the winter, I think I'm going to be able to make better scores this year and lead the team in a better way than I could last year.
The Cardinals improved from start to finish last year, and they're planning to do the same thing this spring. They know they face a trial by fire every week, so they have to control what they can and just worry about themselves.
Obviously, our number one goal is just to improve our team score from one match to the next. We have 8 total conference events where we get to go against some of the state's best teams. So we're going to have a chance to compare ourselves to some of the best, week in, week out.
There's a lot of good teams out there, a lot of good players, but we go out there, we have fun every day, and having fun makes the scores go down.
The Cardinals have high hopes for what they can achieve in conference and section meets, but the competitions aren't really what they look forward to most.
Practice, honestly. I love coming to the course and playing with my friends. It's the most fun part about golf.
It's that attitude that Coach Brugger says makes this a successful season already. So any achievements on the score sheet are just icing on the cake.
These kids like being around each other. They love being at the golf course. We like to use the term that they've got the golf bug. And it's true. I mean, we've got so many kids who just love to be out here all the time, whether it's playing on the course, hitting range balls, practicing their short game. So to me, that's being around a group of kids like that and who are just generally good kids and like being out here. That's pretty awesome.
Well, I'll tell you, being a part of a Coon Rapids golf team is pretty awesome. They have one of the best public courses in the metro, if not the whole state, to call home. And when you're a part of the Cardinals golf team, that means you get membership for the entire summer. So not only can they improve, because the golf season, we talk about it every year. Golf season is so short. It's only about 6 to 8 weeks. And you really can't take a lot of, you're not going to make huge improvements and take 10 strokes off your game in 6 weeks. But you might over 4 months. So both the guys we talked to, Peyton Himley and Nathan Clark, said they felt really good. They played a lot last summer, and they felt really good about where their game is now. And, of course, those two will be seniors. They have a pretty big squad, and they talked highly about some of the younger guys coming in. And if those guys do the same thing, go out and spend their summer, going to play free golf at a great golf course and get better, and they'll come back even stronger next year. But they have legitimate hopes for this year that, they can at least, make the steps up the conference standings.
Well, here's the cool thing about the golf team, and golf in general, is that you have an opportunity to play a game that you really love. And the nice thing about it is you can continue to improve, and you can play this game for a long period in your life. And I think these young athletes realize the fact that, they talked about practice, and they love to come to practice, and the fact that they'll be able to take what they learn here and then continue forward and play this game for a long period of time.
Well, they are scheduled to play against the Northwest Suburban Conference teams in the first conference tournament of the year on Thursday at North Fork. They are scheduled to be at Golden Valley next Monday. The Bunker Hills Invite, the Cardinals host that event. It's like 32 teams. They play 27 holes. That is now scheduled for the 28th of this month. Well, the girls golf team also got an extra week to get ready for its first competition, and they're hoping to be on the course Friday for the Shamrock Invite. Cardinals' numbers are down, but they're keeping their spirits high. They returned some of their top players from last season, and they're ready to get into the swing of spring.
Feels good to be back out on the course, although we've played in some snow and some rain, but although it's going pretty well.
The weather hasn't been perfect, but Cardinals have been fortunate to get a fair amount of time on the course early in the season. And especially with young players, golf is all about getting your hacks in.
They're eager to learn, eager to improve, and they're dealing with those frustration aspects of the game that are inherent to it, They understand it might take 6,000 swings to kind of improve. But they're working through that. They're showing some resilience, so it's fun.
The veterans they return feel great about their game early on. They worked hard in the offseason, and they're ready to show off the results.
My shots are all like super straight, consistent, like I said. Last year was kind of draw to the right a little more.
Pretty good. I've been taking some golf psych lessons and getting some swings in over the winter, and I think I'm match ready.
Some of the most valuable lessons aren't about perfecting your swing or managing the course. They're about being patient, having a short memory, and just giving yourself a break.
Last year, our team, we kind of struggled with self-talk. So you really need to be positive in that. So that's kind of been a struggle for us and for me too. So just reinforcing that positive behavior and not talking down on yourself.
The Cardinals know a conference championship is not a realistic goal. So instead, they just hope to see consistent improvement throughout the year, and most importantly, that the kids enjoy the game and their time together at the course.
I'm looking forward to seeing these girls and what they can kind of achieve. I know we're probably going to be in the bottom third of the conference, but just individually, with them setting their own goals and learning how to manage the course and just coming together as a team, it's going to be fun to be a part of and fun to witness.
So as I mentioned, they hope to start the season on Friday with Shamrock Invite. The Purple Hawk Invite is scheduled for next Monday. Very small team, just 9 girls.
Yeah.
They're hoping they might be able to get a couple of late ads and get more girls interested who could help this team both this year and moving forward. They do have a couple of nice leaders.
They do.
But, as Coach Keeney always talks about, it's a lifelong sport. Well, all of, your 2 golf coaches or the 4 golf coaches that we've seen in our years here, and of course the tennis coaches always rave about those being those lifelong sports, and
they are, and they really
absolutely,
they truly are.
Absolutely, and so hoping to get more people involved with the girls program. Coach Keeney talked about COVID. Overall had a positive impact on golf, the popularity of golf, but not so much in the Coon Rapids Girls High School program. They're hoping that something might catch on. They are hoping, like I said, to get things going on Friday, and we're excited to work with Coach Keeney all season long.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, as we talked about the lacrosse teams, after they were supposed to start the season Thursday, those games were postponed. The boys will host Andover. One of only 2 games they play at Coon Rapids all season long. That's on Wednesday. And Howie?
We'll be there.
Then they will be over at Spring Lake Park on Friday hosting Anoka, and then on the road against Osseo Park Center next Monday. Girls lacrosse team is at Spring Lake Park tonight, starting the season. They will host Rogers on Wednesday. And Howie?
We'll be there.
That's right. The
both of us will be there.
The 2 home games for the Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids boys lacrosse team at Coon Rapids High School will both be doubleheaders.
Yep.
The first one being on Wednesday, and then the second one I believe is on May the 9th. But we'll knock on wood that we get all of the action in this week. Doubtful on Wednesday. Lacrosse could still happen because they will play in the rain. But we'll knock on wood that we get to do something, and we should be seeing some softball on Thursday as well.
Yeah, I think Thursday will be the best chance of the week, so it'll be fun.
But that is going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Say good night.